Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 45 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles. I'm here with Nick, Joey, and Jackson McDaniels. Guys, how are you doing today?
Well, the Cavs are out of the playoffs, so I know we're all a little bummed out about that. But we do have a fifth member of the podcast, the MVP of Game 6 from Denver, Minnesota. Jaden McDaniels has joined us. Jaden, how are you?
Welcome to the show, man.
What's up? Dude, yeah, he literally came to my house like right after the game. So he's just chilling here.
You guys are best friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
He definitely was going crazy. I guess we should get into it. We do have a lot to get into. We had the first Game 6 of this second round go through, and it was the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves destroying the Nuggets 115-70 to force a Game 7 that would be back in Denver. I am shocked that the defending champions got beat this bad. I don't know if we've ever seen that before. That was just super impressive. It almost looked like it was a repeat of Game 2, but even more so.
Well, dude, they scored 14 points in the first quarter and 9 in the fourth.
Yikes.
We haven't seen anything like this, especially from a defending champ. Miles, I know you just looked it up. When was tell the viewers when the last time this happened was.
Well, so the last time that a team scored 70 or less in a game, back in the regular seasons, Joey and Jackson are goofing it up right now. Jackson, who has joined us now?
It's Sleepy Joe Flacco. He's tired.
Tired of watching Denver get their butts kicked.
Nah, they let him out the retirement home. He's graced us with his presence. He didn't have anywhere else to go. I had to bring him in.
It was the game. I'll be honest, it was very surprising to see Denver do that after playing in a complete game the last game at home when we haven't seen either of the teams play well on the home court.
I have one problem, just like looking at the box score. Why, even while getting blown out, why did Nikola Jokic still play 36 minutes? Like, I feel like they should have just rested him. Like, everyone else on the Timberwolves, like, Ant played 34, but, like, everyone else was playing, like, a minimal amount, and they just had him playing 36.
They had DeAndre in there for a little while, and they lost his 4 minutes that he was on the court by 17 points. So I think that's why they subbed him back in.
Well, I think they gave it what they did. I mean, so this obviously turned into a 40-point game, but it was a 25-point game going into the fourth. So I think that Michael Malone was like, all right, let's give this a quick try. And if this doesn't go well in the next 2 minutes, then we'll just cut it out.
Plug. Yeah.
And they went from down 25 to down 30 in those 2 minutes, and then Mike Malone pulled the plug, and we had like 10 minutes of garbage time in this game. It was crazy, Nick. Like you were referencing, the last time that a team scored 70 or less in the regular season was November 2016. And then in the playoffs, the last time that a team scored 70 or less was back in 2016 as well. Game 1 of the first round, where the Dallas Mavericks lost by 38. They only scored 70 points against the OKC Thunder that year. And then before that, it was 2012. So this is just really unprecedented. I'd have to do some more research to see the last time that a defending champion only scored that amount of points. Because
could be never
heard of.
Yeah. Scoring 70 points in today's league, like we were talking in the pre-pod lobby, how Dallas is scoring. You know, they were regularly putting up 135 points, 130 points a night. And their high-scoring game came in Game 6 against the Clippers, or Game 5, where they won 123-93. That's their highest-scoring game. So we were talking like scoring 120 in the playoffs is comparable to a 140-point night in the regular season. So to see Denver score 70, which would be comparable to maybe like a 75-point night in the regular season, as defending champs, that's insane.
Yeah, exactly. It was crazy to see. I think first we got to give a shout out to Jaden McDaniels, man, he'd been cold ice.
Get him back up there.
In this
No, he to go home. He was
Oh,
tired.
he left.
Oh, he left
after carrying the Timberwolves on his back.
No, Anthony Edwards still exists. Shut your mouth.
We'll talk about Anthony Edwards, but
It was a group effort.
It was definitely a group effort, but Jaden McDaniels giving you 21 points, it's just huge. I mean, there's obviously what he gives you defensively is what everyone notices. He's a fantastic perimeter defender. Obviously, his size helps a lot. But anything that he gives you offensively like this, it's really a bonus with him.
Dude, Denver scored 9 points in the first 3 minutes, and then obviously 61 the rest of the way. They were up 9-2, and then it was just a Minnesota snowball.
Well, yeah. So Nick, you said so they had 14 or no? They had 14 in the first quarter. Yeah, 14 in the first quarter. So them scoring 9 in the first 4 minutes means they scored 5 the rest of the first quarter.
It looked like those first 2 games where Minnesota looked like they were ready to sweep the defending champs because they just the Nuggets they have Jamal Murray to put it on the deck, but KCP is not a guy who's going to get to the cup at will versus he's not going to hunt a matchup and try and make something happen. And neither really is MPJ unless he's coming off a screen and he already has kind of an advantage. He's not getting into the paint. And that was the only thing that was working for Denver tonight was to try and penetrate a little bit. But it's hard with obviously 2 of the best bigs in Towns and Gobert when they're clogging it up. The only time I saw them have any success after that 9-2 run in the first quarter was getting into the paint. Jamal Murray he just looked like didn't have it tonight. Like a couple shots didn't go, and then he was more reluctant to force it, which he probably needed to do a little bit more in this one because the shots were not falling. I think they 7 for 36 from 3-point range.
And another thing, too, that was going in the favor of the Nuggets, a big reason why they got back into this series, was their bench had been playing very, very well lately. In this game, when it was still before garbage time, the bench was 1 for 17 from the field, which is just terrible when you look at, of course, the Timberwolves bench, obviously much better, and they played much better than they had the last couple of games with Nickeil Alexander-Walker hitting 3 threes, Naz Reid a double-double. He didn't shoot it the best, but still had a very, great impact on the game. But Anthony Edwards, man, got to talk about Anthony Edwards just continuing to put up these monster performances when it's mattered the most. I know Game 5, he didn't really have his best game, especially the first half. He only made 1 basket in the first half of Game 5. And he's bounced back every single time he's had a stinker. He's bounced back, and now we've got this series going to Game 7, and it's going to be a lot of fun. As man, everyone's just appearing on.
Oh my gosh! Welcome, Anthony Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was his third or fourth or fifth elimination game in his career, and he scored 25 every time. It's like he's going to show up. He's going to be there for 4 quarters and do what he can to get his team to the next game because he's ain't trying to go home.
This man is wise beyond his years. Like for as young as he is to play this well and to focus up and man up and just ball out every elimination game that he has to face, like it's incredible. Like huge props to Ant Edwards. Like he really is. To me, I already consider him a superstar. I know some people say he's the next superstar. To me, he's already a superstar.
He's been a superstar for a while. I think he's been a superstar since the USA team this summer, in my opinion.
Oh, the USA team. Yeah, definitely helped him.
And I've always been an Ant fan. If people didn't know, people couldn't.
Yeah, he was the best player in that FIBA tournament this summer, which is crazy.
Well, no doy.
But Mike Conley, I mean, they missed him in the last game, and he hit 3 threes in this one. He takes that pressure off of Ant the way that Murray has no one to do for the Nuggets. Does that make sense? Like, you guys know what I'm saying?
No question about him. His absence was definitely huge in that game. I was doing some quick numbers here because you were talking about Jamal Murray, And
He's been awful.
well,
Oh my
looking
word.
at over the course of this series, his play in wins versus losses is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
So in their 3 wins of this series, Jamal Murray is, of course, not scoring a lot. He's scoring 19.5 points, but on 50% shooting, so he is doing it efficiently. But in the 3 losses, he's scoring just 12 points per game on 36% shooting. Huge difference. Huge difference. And this was another game too, where at least looking in the box score, I know Nick has mainly been the one focusing on the power forward matchup. And in this game, it was pretty even between Karl-Anthony Towns and Aaron Gordon. But
Cat has not been very good at all.
But the Timberwolves role players, they just all stepped up. They knew what they were facing here, an elimination game at home. Obviously, winning the first 2 games in Denver, you did not. It would have been rough to see them lose the next 4 games to get eliminated. So now they've got a chance to go back on the road where they've won twice already in this series and go to the conference finals, which, I mean, I'm sure if you told them at the beginning of the season, if they could have 1 game to go to the conference finals, no matter where it is, they would take it any day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only one person on planet Earth who predicted that.
You.
I will. What do you guys think is going to happen in Game 7?
Oof.
Well, we know what Jackson
Minnesota, baby, Minnesota.
Actually,
it's what Joe Biden said. If you ever seen
Minnesota. No, I would honestly probably. I think I had the Nuggets winning, predicting the series, but like my heart is saying, my gut is telling me to pick Minnesota for this game because I just don't trust the rest of the Nuggets team right now. Jokic has been doing his thing, but it's Jamal Murray who all this pressure is coming down on. And he, like you said, in the wins versus the losses, we're going to find out real early if he's got it going or not, and if it's going to go bad for the Nuggets or not.
Really quick, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit. For anyone who follows the NFL, did you guys see the Harrison Butker news today?
I don't think we need to talk about that on an NBA podcast.
No, I just thought of it because of Joe Biden. He was ripping on Joe Biden during his speech.
I don't think we need to talk about that.
It was funny.
Here.
It was
really funny. I think we can keep that kind of stuff on another podcast.
This is a sports podcast.
This is an NBA podcast.
Fine. Can we also talk about? So we were talking about before the podcast, like who is going to have to, because Minnesota's going to have to make a move, and who they would trade. And I think it should be Cat. I mean, just looking, Cat's supposed to be the number 2 on this team, but really, I feel like Jaden McDaniels and Rudy have kind of been the number 2s. Cat has been the worst player efficiency-wise on this team, in my opinion, and just looking at like the numbers. And I think the 2 big system works, but I think Naz Reid could fill the void better and make way less money.
If they don't make the conference finals, I think that's definitely a possibility. I think
they have to make a move either way. They have to trade someone either way. They're not going to be able to afford this roster.
Towns to the Cavs.
No, please do not send him our way. I do not want him. He is not a winner.
Well,
there's Donovan, so that makes 2 of them.
Saying that Towns has been inefficient, I think that hasn't been true this playoffs. I've been a criticizer of Towns in his career because he has not stepped up in the playoffs.
Well, I'm just looking, at least this series. I mean, he had the 5 for 18 game against Denver in their loss.
Overall, he's averaging 18 points, 50% from the field, 44% from 3. And that's
pretty good.
That's including the 5 for 18 game. So you take that away, and that's a lot better.
He's a sissy.
But he would probably be the one that you have to trade, just because your defense is just so good with Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert in there, and then your other role players as well. As far as sticking to a Game 7, of course it's difficult. I mean, obviously the Nuggets losing by 45 points in this game is going to steer people towards the Minnesota Timberwolves. But I think that the Nuggets, At the end of the day, they are the defending champs. They've been through this before. They're going to have a Game 7 at home.
Which they've lost 2 games at home
The
already.
Timberwolves have not really had that experience of a Game 7 on the road besides like Conley and Gobert. Everyone else, this is their first time going through this. And it would be a perfect, storybook run here for Anthony Edwards if he could defeat the defending champions on the road. That would be something else, but I've got to stick with the home team. I know the home team's record in Game 7 is always crazy good, and Denver's got one of the best.
Anthony Edwards plays every game like it's a Game 7 away, so.
Well, he can go crazy without him winning the game. We saw that in Game 5.
They have Nikola Jokic. We have Jaden McDaniels. Next. On to the next one.
Why are you taking it personally? We're just making observations and predictions. You're acting like we're just going at the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I'm done with this tomfoolery. On to the next one.
I can't.
Nick, what were your thoughts on Game 7? Did you give your prediction?
Here's the thing. I think Minnesota's the better team. But
couldn't agree more.
You're going to Denver against the defending champs who, like Miles said, had been there before and done it and proven it before. Minnesota is going to come into that game very tense, I would imagine, as naturally anybody in their position would. And all the pressure is going to be on them, in my opinion, because they just won by 45. How can you lose the next game?
Ooh, interesting. Ooh, yeah. Who do you guys think has more pressure going into this game? I mean, I would probably say the Denver Nuggets.
I would say Denver has more pressure.
I don't think so.
Well, you're just objectively wrong.
Like, let's think about this. Defending champs, not even making it back to the conference finals the next year against a lower seeded team, a team that you did have the tiebreaker over.
Okay,
you have the MVP.
There's a 1 game difference in the regular season between these two teams. It's not like
just saying, but still, that means you're a favorite.
Yeah, I mean the Nuggets are definitely going to be overly favored to win this game.
And that's the pressure.
I also don't think.
No, the question is who's got more pressure, not who's favored.
Denver has more pressure, and
if you're favored, you have the more pressure because more people think you're going to win.
Okay,
and if you lose,
would you feel more pressure if you were in Denver's shoes or Minnesota? Like pretend you're Aaron Gordon, or pretend you're or pretend you're
Denver,
Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Denver, absolutely.
Denver again, because defending champs, not even making it back to the conference finals. You've been there, done that. Like, I would feel devastated if I was an Aaron Gordon or a Jokic or a Jamal Murray is just like, we couldn't even get back there. Like, are you kidding me? This was just like a Cinderella run then.
I'm seeing it both ways, interestingly enough, now that I'm thinking about it, because obviously in the grand scheme of things, all the pressure's on Denver to win this series. But I mean, also if you're Minnesota, how would it feel if you lost a series where you were up 2-0, winning both the games on the road? I feel both ways.
That's true.
But
I mean, their wins in this series have been just. Go ahead.
I think Denver will pull it off. I think that Murray is gonna have a good game. He steps up in the biggest moments.
Not with Ant guarding him. No way, Jose.
And they've got the ultimate card in the game, and that's the Joker. And we saw what he did in Game 5. He had one of the greatest performances I've seen in the playoffs by a big man. It was just incredible.
That was his one good game.
One good dude.
He literally doesn't play a bad game.
Yeah, it's hard for him to play a bad game. And I don't think that Denver will lose 3 home games in the same series.
I don't think Minnesota will lose 2 away games in a series.
That's more likely that they lose road games than Denver loses home games.
Nah.
All I know is that when Denver was down by 25, 30 in this game, I looked up in the third quarter and saw Christian Braun rip the freaking rip. That got me really hyped.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Doesn't change a thing.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and move on. We spent a lot of time on that Wolves-Nuggets series. That should be a fun Game 7 coming up.
Yeah. Either way, it's the best. It's the best 2 words in sports. Game 7. Enjoy.
Hopefully, we get a couple more of those.
We can definitely get a couple more of these. Let's dig into this next one from the Eastern Conference. The Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, and the Knicks, another blowout victory, defeating the Pacers by 30 in this game without OG Anunoby. Another just super impressive performance, really defensively, by the Knicks, because we were seeing the last couple games where the Pacers, well, really this whole series, if we're being honest, the Pacers were they were having the series played at their tempo, their pace, and for a lot of times they were getting what they wanted. It just happened that at the end of games 1 and 2, the Knicks had the better closing team, but that we did not see that at all in this game. It was all New York the whole game.
I told you ahead of time when we were previewing that game, we were like, OG's out. I'm like, I think they can steal a game without OG. And look at that. They played one of the greatest, most dominant games we've seen, besides
Still
obviously the Minnesota game. But New York played great without OG. Please, hopefully they have OG for the next game and they can close it out before getting to Game 7.
Yeah,
See,
shout out to the Knicks for proving me wrong, because I did not think they would be able to.
Yeah, no. Hey, thank you for proving me right and saying you could steal one without OG. Nobody believed in you.
I don't think that OG will be available for Game 6 personally.
Doesn't scare me. No, but honestly, I know everyone's going to think I'm going to talk about Jalen Brunson right off the bat, but I actually want to give a huge shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein.
Oh my!
I think he had 12 offensive rebounds.
So good.
12
so good.
offensive rebounds. Miles Turner has a new father. His name is Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah, and he's also Jared Allen's brother now.
Dude, Isaiah, look, I mean, we were talking about the Timberwolves off season. This will be interesting for the Knicks with Isaiah Hartenstein up for a contract. He's probably going to get paid.
He's going to get paid.
He's having such a good year.
With the way he's playing, man. 12 offensive rebounds, and he's really been doing this for the whole series. I mean, besides Game 4, I think it was proven that Game 4 was probably an anomaly at this point with the Knicks being so tired. But he's been incredible this whole playoffs and for a lot of the regular season with all the injuries that they've had. Another big game for Josh Hart. Deuce McBride coming in the starting lineup for Precious. Played really, really well. Alec
Burks, 6 for 11, 5 for 8 from deep.
Alec Burks, Tim's favorite.
Dude, Miles, you were ready to write that dude off, weren't you?
I had already written him off.
Dude, he deserves much credit for just staying ready. For staying ready, man. I mean, think about
that's the mark of a pro right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, just wait till he gets playing time and shits the bed in Game 6.
Evan Fournier can never.
I think, dude, I'd give Alex.
Evan Fournier could never.
Evan Fournier could never be a pro.
I'd give Alec Burks a pass if he's struggling in Game 6. I mean, in these 3 games, after not playing for over a month, this dude in these 3 games is giving you 17 points in 22 minutes per game on 53% shooting, 50% from 3. And
that's insane.
That's incredible, man.
That's insane. That is huge.
He's
honestly
been incredible.
Miles, you're talking about like what the Knicks are going to do this offseason. I feel like they are actually one of the most slept on teams in terms of what they can do, because I think I could see them moving Bojan, getting that $20 million off the books for somebody, and then they really aren't paying anyone too much. I think they should trade that sad sack of crap who's getting paid $28 million this year.
Julius Randle, everybody.
Yep. But I mean, you have the best point guard in the league, arguably, on a contract where he's making $25 million a year.
That
for the next
decreases each year.
that decreases. It's incredible. And I'm looking at it, they really like most of their contracts, it looks like, are decreasing besides like Josh Hart, but I think they just gave him an extension, right?
Yeah, they did.
So and then Randall, but he should be gone in due time. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe for Brandon Ingram.
This Knicks team doesn't need Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, they don't need Julius, though. I'll tell you that much. Freaking waste of space.
So heading into Game 6, that will be tonight as we're releasing this on Friday night. What are you guys going to be looking for? Now, similar to the way that, I just said that the Knicks Game 4 was an anomaly, is this Game 5 an anomaly for the Pacers? Because this is the first time they've really struggled like this in this series. I know they had a couple stinkers in that Bucks series, but I mean, this is obviously a much different team.
I definitely think it is an anomaly. I believe in Rick Carlisle. He is a great coach. He's going to have them bounce back. Without OG, like I said, I think they could steal one without OG to New York. But having the Knicks play that bad and without OG, again, New York just did it, so they can prove me wrong and do it again. To me, it's very unlikely, though. I think we're going to go to a Game 7.
Let me check something. Who started and yeah, okay. No, I'm more confident now. I don't think OG being out is as big of a deal as everyone's making it to be, because starting in place of him is actually who I think one of the most underrated players in the league, and he would actually be like a top tier starting point guard, or maybe not a top tier, but like a really good starting point guard for any other team if he wasn't on the Knicks.
Deuce.
I think Deuce is so good, dude.
You talk about guys on valued contracts. Like the fact that
Deuce.
they gave him an extension for a combined $12 million over the next 3 years is a steal.
Well, that was in the midseason when he didn't really have a roster spot at that point.
No, I mean, he was slowly and steadily improving. But this year he's just been great. I mean, he's jumped up from the last 2 seasons, the first 2 years of his career, in about 10 minutes per game, only giving you 3 points a game on 28% shooting from 3. His defense was really the thing that got him brought on, but this year up to 41% from 3. And they trust him. I mean, you can tell Tibbs trusts him. He trusted him a bit last year. I remember there were a couple times he got out there for a couple possessions in the Cavs series last year, and he played well defensively on there, and he's been a good, steady backup point guard now this year.
And honestly, I feel like he's the main reason, because I feel like they saw the potential in him. I feel like he's the main reason they made the IQ trade, because they were like, oh, we have this guy who, honestly, I think he's more valuable than Emmanuel Quickley, in my opinion, just because of how good he is on the defensive end. And I think, honestly, he's so fun to watch offensively too. Like we saw in the games that Brunson was injured, like the couple games that he missed, he stepped right up and he was making some insane plays.
Especially for this last game, Deuce was huge for them. So I can definitely see it.
Game 6, I'm going to go with Indiana. I think we talked about it on the last episode that Game 5 was the big game that the Knicks had to win. You knew that they were going to give their best without OG, because this gives them a chance. Like I said, I'd be shocked if OG did play in Game 6, but this gives you, we're going to have a Game 7 at the most if Indiana wins here tonight. Yeah. And that gives OG the chance to win Game 7. So, for OG to come back and for the Knicks to have him back for Game 7. So, I think that Indiana will take Game 6, but it would not shock me if Jalen Brunson had another ridiculous performance. Because, dude, in this game, I mean, in the playoffs, but this game, he was incredible. I mean, 28 points in the first half, and He's
18 of 35.
He's one of my favorite guys to watch in the league at the point guard position.
I'm telling you right now. I think he might be my favorite player in the league. Like it's either him or Alp, but it's one of those three.
I definitely don't think Jalen Brunson can like shock me anymore unless he drops like 60 plus points in like the next two games. Like if Indiana wins and then in game 7 Jalen Brunson drops like a 60 bomb in game 7, that's literally the last thing that I think that could shock me.
Yeah, I think
he has just been playing unbelievable. He's got me being a believer. Like I literally don't think this man can do no wrong. And I don't like the Knicks. I want them to fail. But Jalen Brunson's a dog.
Yeah, like you're saying, if he has like a Jason Tatum type game 7, like from last year.
Not even Jason. I'm talking like 60 points. If he has like a Jason Tatum type game, I'll be like,
that's
Jalen Brunson. That's in his wheelhouse, man. He can do that.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Tatum had 54 in their game 7 last year.
Well, that's not 60 plus, like I said. So
again, I'm gonna smack you. I'm gonna smack you in the face.
I think one more thing before we move on to the next series. I think maybe the most impressive thing about this game for Jalen Brunson was, looking at the 2 games in Indiana, the adjustment was the Pacers throwing more size on him with Aaron Nesmith, and then more pests on him with like TJ McConnell to defend him, and it was making things a little bit tougher for Brunson to get where he wanted to go. It did not matter who was guarding him in this game. He was scoring on everyone, mainly Nesmith and McConnell.
He had that barbecue chicken in his eyes.
I think either him or Kawhi, like in my opinion, they're the 2 best.
Oh, did he cut out for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, we cannot hear you, but I'm gonna assume he said the best mid-range players in the game.
No. Okay. My thing was muted, but I think, just in my opinion, I think Kawhi and Jalen Brunson are the 2 people who, like, when watching, I'm like, these dudes actually like get to their spots so well. Like they just find a way to get where they need to be to kind of make the deep. And then I think Luka is also up there. Luka and Shea. I think those 4 guys, and even if you want to add a top 5, I think Ant too. Ant's another guy who is very underrated when it comes to mid-range shooting. I think we've already talked about him, but like, I think everyone's like at least those 5 guys.
Yeah, Ant's definitely got that bank shot down. No question about it.
Dude, I swear, I love it.
It's crazy. He's making the bank shot cool again.
All right, let's have
He's been watching Timmy D film.
It's so much.
What is the best signature shot currently in the NBA?
Signature.
Mine is a really biased pick because it's awesome.
Signature shot. I'm sorry. To me, I think it's still Curry.
What? Just a 3-pointer?
It's just the quick flick.
Oh, I would say Jokic from behind his head.
Oh,
the Sombor shuffle is definitely not a bad pick.
What about the flamingo shot?
Oh, dude, signature shot. I don't know. There really aren't a whole lot of like signature.
The LeBron stare down.
The LeBron look down dribble.
Miles knows the flamingo.
Wait, which one?
The flamingo shot.
Wait,
I don't think I know the flamingo shot.
What's the flamingo shot?
One leg.
Alp's flamingo shot.
Oh, Alp's flamingo shot. That's right. Yeah.
It's the best, dude.
It is a funny one. Dude, yeah, that's a good question. Signature shot, though. I can't really...
Kyrie left-handed bank?
I mean, a Kyrie Irving jelly layup is always one of the best for me.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Damian Lillard pull-up 3 from the logo. Like when he gets a screen and just speeds up, takes 2 hard dribbles and just stops on a dime and pulls up.
The James Harden step back.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of with signature shots.
The Joel Embiid ghost foul.
Yo, the Ben Simmons bricks.
Dude, I'm
the
not
DG
even
bricks.
kidding. Okay.
The DG bricks. Are you kidding me? The Max Strus bricks. Shut up. Shut up.
Wow, you took that way too personal. Yo, calm yourself.
We'll get to the Cavs soon because we
My
definitely gotta talk
goodness,
about
Goglin.
But and final thing then with this when working for the Cavs last year and doing the rebounding, no, the worst jump shot by far was definitely Ben Simmons. Like the whole time he was shooting, I was talking with my coworkers under the basket. And we were like, dude, look at the rotation on the ball. This makes no sense how he's shooting. It was so bad, but
frick.
Should be a good game 6. Nick, what do you think? You got Pacers or Knicks in game 6?
Knicks in 6.
Knicks in 6, game baby. 6. All right, so we're split on this. Should be fun, man. Should be fun tonight. Moving on, let's go to another pivotal game 5 that occurred on a Monday night with the Dallas Mavericks getting a big road victory in OKC against the Thunder, 104-92. Huge victory for them after they let go of the ropes in game 4 on their home floor. They bounced back and kind of do the similar thing to what the Thunder did to them in game 4.
Luka went off.
Yeah. 31, 10, and 11. Dallas, they took the lead early in the second quarter, and they kept it from that point on. They never really looked back. Shout out to 2 guys in this game that I thought were the biggest X factors for the Mavericks were Lively and Derrick Jones Jr.
Yes.
Derrick Jones Jr. was 7-9, and he had 19 points. He was 3-5 from downtown. And Lively was plus 22 in only 23 minutes. He had 11 points and 10 rebounds.
Derrick Jones Jr. is an MVP even though Luka had like the crazy game. Derrick Jones Jr. He is the hustle switchblade
I think he had double-digit rebounds.
He does everything. He assists, rebounds, hustles. That's what he does. But then you got him dropping almost 20 points. How are you going to lose?
Let's be honest. He took on the PJ Washington role this game.
Yeah.
Of taking more threes. Yeah, I mean, PJ had a double-double too. I mean, it overshadowed another quiet game for Kyrie a little bit. His scoring numbers have definitely been down over the last few games here.
But I feel like he's kind of knowing his role. Like this game it didn't show, but I mean, he's been the facilitator. Like Luka's obviously the main facilitator, but he's been a great backup or a secondary facilitator for them.
Yeah. Now, I think the big, maybe the biggest reason that the Thunder weren't able to get back in this game because
they benched Josh Giddey
for most of the game. It was the 3-point shooting or lack thereof throughout the game for this Thunder team. So the Thunder, they went 4 for 11 from 3 in the first quarter, good for 36%. The rest of the night, they go 6 for 31 from deep.
Yikes.
For 10 for 40 for the game. And this is a team that led the NBA in 3-point percentage during the regular season, going 10 for 40 from deep and 2 for 11 in the fourth quarter because they were scoring pretty well from 2-point range. I thought J-Dub and Chet got themselves going in this game. Shea obviously did his thing. But in the fourth quarter, the Thunder were 9 for 12 on 2-point shots, 2 for 11 from 3, and they had to start shooting because they were down really double digits for most of the fourth quarter, just trying to get back into it. And Lou Dort, man, I gotta tell you, he will not go out without at least shooting a bunch of threes because he will fire him up there no matter what. It is hilarious.
But I have a thing.
Yeah.
With this game, I feel like Isaiah Joe was awful. Isaiah Joe looked terrible, and surprisingly, Josh Giddey looked very good.
Looked good off the bench, which is so backwards because he's been so unplayable this series.
In 12 minutes, he had 11 points. 5 for 8 from the field, 1 for 3 from three-point range. And I think in 12 minutes, I think they should at least experiment with upping his minutes. Because I feel like he could, they haven't really been giving him that many minutes. It's been 15 minutes max every game. I feel like, no, that wasn't even me trying to make a joke, but I think they should just give him a chance. Like, he showed in this game why he is he was a number 6 pick, and I think why he might deserve a contract extension. Maybe not a huge one, but at least a pretty decent one.
I mean, this was his first good game of the series. Let's not forget how brutal he had been to start the series, and that's why he's come off the bench. I think that the role players for this team, I think that the other guys around Shea, they just need to play better. I don't know exactly.
Chet.
I think Chet's been fine at times. I think he's been very solid defensively, but J-Dub, for a guy who's been, who I consider a star already, I'm a huge fan of the way he plays. He hasn't.
Me too. I've said it a lot.
He hasn't been the best this series. Lou Dort, I mentioned, 31% from the field in this series. I feel like those supporting guys just have to play better. Those guys should not be getting outplayed by a Derek Jones Jr. or PJ Washington. There's no world where that can happen for this Thunder team, especially considering the lower scoring games that you're getting from Kyrie Irving. That just can't happen.
Who's guarding Kyrie? Do they have Dort on him?
I've been seeing a lot of J-Dub on Kyrie, if I'm not mistaken. They've had Dort on Doncic. Might be wrong.
But yeah, honestly, I'm also in the same boat as you, Miles. I'm a huge J-Dub fan. I said I could see him being a Jamal Murray type player for them, and he just hasn't shown that. I'm very disappointed. So, big sad.
Big sad.
Yeah, OKC's definitely going to just need the guys to hit some shots, and honestly, after that, they should be okay to win it because you're not. If Kyrie's still struggling, if Derek Jones Jr. is the one that's helping beat you guys, you can kind of live with that every now and then because that's not going to happen every time.
Yeah, but you also know you're not going to hold Kyrie to 12 points for a third game in a row. He's bound to.
That's the thing. You're very
shots.
You are rolling the dice and playing it very risky with letting Kyrie just slow down like this because you're right. He is due. He is due.
We probably will see that in Dallas for Game 6. Let's look ahead to Game 6 now in Dallas. It's going to be Saturday night with a chance for the Mavericks to go to their first conference final since 2022 and just their second since winning the title back in 2011. How are you guys feeling about this game? What are you guys going to be looking for? I mean, obviously it's going to be the role players stepping up, but who are there any particular guys you guys are looking at?
Kyrie.
Like I said for the Thunder, I think Josh Giddey could be a name that could make a big splash in this game. I think Cason Wallace also he played 27 minutes. He shot 1 for 7 though, so I think they might give some of his minutes to Giddey. But yeah, I think honestly, yeah, Kyrie, I agree with that. But
he's just been so slow for so long. Like he's due for like a big game. Like he's the one I'm going to watch. Like I know Luke is going to do his thing. If some of the role players from the Mavs start helping out, hey, that's good. But like my eyes are going to be on Kyrie because like all of a sudden he's going to hit like a mid range, make a tough layup, drain a 3, and then all of a sudden he's not missing for like 2 quarters straight.
Yeah, and playoff Kyrie is a thing. Let's be honest. I mean,
it's not a thing.
It is a thing.
So something I'm thinking about with the Thunder. I know something that we haven't talked about, at least on this episode. Quickly going back to the Nuggets Timberwolves, is Jokic having big scoring games? The Timberwolves trying to force Jokic to score all the points and held everyone else in check. Because interestingly enough, I mean, Jokic had the crazy game in Game 5. It was the first time in his 5 times where he scored 40 points in the playoffs where his team won. The previous 4 times that Jokic scored 40, his team lost because that went right into the game plan. So Do you guys think that could be something similar we see with Luka here? Try to force him to get all the points, maybe not help off of all the other guys. Maybe try to force Luka into taking step back threes and difficult shots. Just living with that.
That's a very dangerous game because
Luka's gonna find his
Doncic
guys.
can drop like 70 points.
We have seen that.
I don't think he can right now. I think he's hurting on that knee.
He is banged up a lot.
He is for sure.
So that is you're right. That is a possibility that Marky D is putting in place for the Thunder, saying like, "Hey, Luka's banged up. Make it difficult, but no need to help. We don't want anybody else scoring."
Marky D brought back the Hack of Lively.
Yes, he did.
He's done that a few times this series.
Yes, he has. And Derek's been running away from it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I feel like if the Mavericks need scoring, and they're doing Hack a Lively, I could see them taking Derek Lively out and putting a guy like Jaden Hardy in, who didn't have that great of a last game, but Jaden Hardy is a microwave.
He's a scorer, yeah.
If Jaden Hardy's hitting, Jaden Hardy will drop 30 to 40 on you if he wants.
Imagine.
It's crazy getting sent home by a guy who hasn't played in weeks.
Jaden Hardy.
We shut Luka Doncic down. He had 15 points, but 15 assists, and like 12 of them went to Jaden Hardy.
That would definitely be crazy. Are you guys leaning Mavericks with this game?
I'm leaning Mavs. Go Dallas.
I'm leaning Thunder, actually.
It's not just because my dog is named Dallas.
I think Dallas just has the momentum, and I mean, I feel like Luka plays pretty well in elimination games. So, I don't know.
This OKC team has not shown to give in when their backs have been against the wall all season long. Their lack of experience has not hurt them whatsoever. I feel like that's going to help them in this situation. They're not really going to be fearful of this situation, I don't think.
I think the pressure's on Dallas to get it done at home because you're not going to – going back to OKC is going to be tough.
They would definitely much rather close it out at home than have to go to OKC for a Game 7. I think I'm going to go with the Thunder too, man. I think I'll go with the Thunder too. I don't think that they're going to stay this bad again.
And honestly, like, I don't have a problem. I think I'm going to pick the Mavs just because I like Luka in elimination games. And I don't see Kyrie having another bad game either. Like,
we suck again.
But honestly, I can't fault anyone for taking the Thunder. I mean, you have SGA, who, by the way, is older than Luka. I was shocked when I heard that today.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Luka's like a kid. Luka came in the league in like 19.
Yeah, that is crazy to think about, though.
Well, they're from the same draft class.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Luka's been a pro since he was like 14, though, so he also seems way more mature.
Crazy. Oh, all right. Well, let's move on to the final series, the only series that is over, with the Boston Celtics closing out.
Let me give you guys some life here, because I gotta actually stand up for the Cavs.
Boy,
before I tear them apart.
Agreed. I'm down with this because I will rip them.
The Cavs did a good job in this series. They did a good job. Congratulations.
Hey, shout out Evan Mobley.
Won one game. Only scored less than 100 3 times out of 5. They did a good job. So my thing is, like, Boston is a juggernaut. Like, they had the 4th highest average margin of victory in NBA history. Only the Bucks with Oscar Robertson and Kareem back in 1970 were higher, and then the Bulls in 96, and then KD with the Warriors. Those are the only 3 teams that have a higher margin of victory than this team.
And so far, they've had the easiest trip to the conference finals I've ever seen.
Well, my point is that margin of victory was 11.5 for the entire season, which is very good. The Cavs lost these 5 games by an average of 7.5 points per game, which is better than the 17.2 points per game that Miami lost to them in the previous round. Yeah. So if you want to hang your hat on something, there it is.
We're not as bad as Miami. I love it. Well, 5.
I also think so Game 5 was a 15-point game. The score is not indicative of how close it was. Oh gosh, there we go. The scores weren't indicative of how close they really were the whole time. I mean, when you look at games 4 and 5 without Donovan Mitchell, of course Jared Allen has been out, but Game 5, no Karis LeVert either. And this team kept it close for about 3.5 quarters in both games, which is just incredible when you really think about it. I've got to give a lot of credit to, the guys on the Cavs for not giving in. They could have gotten destroyed these games. My whole mindset coming into this series was like, yeah, we're probably not going to win this series. It probably will be a 5-game series. But if we can just play tough and fight through these games and not give in, I'll be proud as a fan, and these players should be proud because they did not give in, and they played really well. Joey, I mean, Evan Mobley, you were saying, 20 to 25 points. He averaged 21 points, 9 boards, and 3 assists a game this series. He looked great.
You told me. You're right. I told you we need him to have 20 to 25 points a game to play with. And you were like, he's only got 20 points 3 times the whole year. There's no shot. Well, imagine if he did that with Donovan Mitchell. We would have won more than one game.
That's why I think that this series alone, with the way that Evan Mobley played, it should have Cavs fans already feeling 5 times better than they did at the end of last year. But we should give a lot of credit to the Boston Celtics as well. And Al Horford, man. Al Horford was sensational in this game.
Well, I did watch this Cavs game. The Cavs, I swear, every time I looked at the screen, they left Al Horford open. Wide open.
Well, because he wasn't making threes the rest of the series.
Well, where?
Shout out Al Horford. Go Gators, baby.
Finally,
he still got it.
Yeah, you look, the previous 2 games in Cleveland, he was 0 for 10 from 3. He was 1 for 5 from 3 in Game 1. He was the guy that you have to live with shooting threes in that juggernaut lineup, and he was great shooting the 3 in that game. He was great on the boards, the hustle plays, defensively. He was just sensational. Of course, Tatum did his thing once again. And the Celtics are going to another conference finals. They're 6th in 8 years.
Sorry, I had another friend join. This is the version of Darius Garland the Cavs got
in this
whole series. Yep. Yeah. Middle school, Darius Garland. That is how he played, because he was awful.
Bring in the Dancing Ingrams.
Let's get into sort of the quickly before we move on here, the articles and reports coming out about the Cavaliers after the loss, because there's some very interesting things to take away from the season. Ironically enough, JB Bickerstaff, it sounds like his job is in serious jeopardy. The Cavs are going to take a couple days to sort of weigh their options, because I think that the only thing stopping them is that the coaching options out there may not be the best as far as experience. You'd probably be getting a first-year guy coming in next year for.
Give me Frank Vogel.
Shut up! No, you. I think Mike Budenholzer would be a great pick, though.
It's too bad he's on the Phoenix Suns already.
I was going to say, he just got hired by Phoenix, didn't he?
Yeah, he'll be gone within 2 minutes.
He'll be gone.
He'll be gone soon.
But apparently, ironically enough, Jackson and I were at the Houston Rockets Cleveland Cavaliers game in December, which the Cavs won in overtime. And apparently after this game, Cavs president Kobe Altman walked into the coach's office and admonished head coach JB Bickerstaff in front of his entire staff for playing Donovan Mitchell such heavy minutes in that game. Now, for context, this was the second game after Darius Garland and Evan Mobley went injured for that long stretch there where the Cavs played really well. Donovan Mitchell played every second of the second half in overtime of that game. And then Right after that, he missed the next 4 games with what the team said was a non-COVID illness. Moving on from that,
because I was there.
More stuff with JB Bickerstaff, and trying to do everything that the Cavs can to persuade Donovan Mitchell to accept the 4-year, $208 million contract extension this summer. The Cavs need their star player to feel comfortable with the long-term direction of the franchise, which includes the coach. Multiple league sources have said for months that Mitchell did not have great confidence in Bickerstaff, and he was not alone. Several players questioned Bickerstaff's strategies, game management, practice habits, and accountability measures privately and publicly throughout the season.
And he's not the only one. All the fans was calling him out in the game management for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You could really see it when they put the cameras in the huddle for the playoffs, and it's just like he's not really coaching, he's being a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
And I mean, part of that
Joey, check your messages.
Stop. I will say, first off, shout out to JB. He's been great here in Cleveland. We have improved every single year he's been here. Last year we were the 4 seed, knocked out in the first round. This year we're the 4 seed again, but get knocked out in the second round. So technically we are improving under him. However, he is GONE. He is gone.
Yeah.
Persona non grata.
Yeah, like
Joey,
you
I'm
did well for us, JB, but I'm sorry, dog. Like Darius Garland went from an all-star. You bring in a guy who's ever since he's been here has been playing like a potential MVP in Donovan Mitchell, and now Darius Garland is now rendered useless. You got Evan Mobley, who has all this potential, and his defense came in elite, and his offense needed to work. 3 years later, Evan Mobley, his defense is elite, and his offense is finally starting to grow. And we saw it just this last series. Like, the star players have just either regressed or stayed the same, and it's extremely upsetting, but I think he's taken us as far as we can go, and the players.
Okay.
I think it's time to get a new coach.
I think that,
hear me out.
Bickerstaff
David Blatt
is a great
Stop.
Blatt. I think JB Bickerstaff is a great developmental coach. I mean, like you said, Joey, when he came in, well, first of all, this was after the LeBron era. The Cleveland Cavaliers were a super unstable organization when it came to their head coaches.
Yeah.
Tyronn Lue, Larry Drew,
Byron Scott,
John Beilein, even Byron Scott beforehand, Mike Brown again, David Blatt, Ty Lue.
But it was all about winning right away, yeah.
But then after John Beilein, we promote JB Bickerstaff. At that time, we're one of the laughing stocks in the league because of the whole John Beilein incident. That was crazy. But you're right. Since then, we've gone from lottery team to play-in to playoff series win. But I do think that we definitely need a better coach to get us to the next level for sure.
I have thought of a couple options. I think honestly, this might be controversial, but I think Adrian Griffin would be a great choice because I think Giannis is a diva in some aspects, and just because he didn't get along with him because he's a diva, like I said, I still think he was a great coach. I mean, if there was turmoil, he still led them to have a great record and had them looking like a good basketball team. And I think he'd be a solid option. I think he would be better than JB. And then I was looking at like teams and how they performed, and I was thinking, what if because I've seen a lot of reports of like maybe a potential Paul George move and potential James Harden moves. What if the Clippers just want to blow everything up and they get rid of Tyronn Lue?
No, they'll extend him. They'll extend him.
I don't want Ty Lue coming back either.
If he were to get fired, he'd go to the Lakers. I think that's not even a question.
Fair. Unless they hire JJ Redick before that, but I'm just saying.
JJ Redick would be interesting. I don't know how I.
Not for the Cat. I don't think that he'll go to the Lakers if anything, or he'll go wherever LeBron goes.
JJ Redick with the Cavs would be sick.
But moving on to the roster fits, because obviously there are plenty of questions about whether the guards can play together, whether the bigs can play together. And it says right here, there are questions of fit on the roster to work through, such as whether Allen and Mobley, two non-shooting bigs, can coexist in the same starting unit, and whether Garland can thrive playing alongside Mitchell as two smaller guards who need the ball.
Too
Furthermore,
bad Garland's gone.
rival executives believe the Cavs will have to seriously evaluate the fit of Mitchell and Garland and ultimately may have to choose one or the other. Should Mitchell decide to stay long-term, sources briefed on the matter say Garland's representation, Rich Paul, Jackson's BFF, would have a conversation with Cavs officials on potentially finding a new home for the one-time All-Star. This was maybe the most shocking thing to come out of all this, that
By
their
the way, right
representatives
there.
were basically like, that their representatives may be like, okay, it's either me or him to the Cavs regarding Garland and Mitchell, which I did not expect out of this.
Talk about diva.
By the way, you're talking about my friend. I can send you the picture of me and Rich, and we can just put it in the episode. I'm serious.
It's not like this is a crazy note. I know you're saying like this came out of nowhere for you. To me, to be honest, this is kind of a win-win for both parties. Because first off, it clearly isn't working with Garland and Mitchell. Hey, they may be brothers and they may be good friends and best buds. I'm fine with that. That is great. I love the chemistry they have together. Like Donovan embracing Garland throughout this series when he's struggling. It's great. It shows a great leader and a good guy. However, they just don't mix well when playing together, and you want your best players together. Garland it can be a really, really good to a great player. But if you're going to choose, we got to go Mitchell. And Garland can find success somewhere else. So it's a win-win where we don't have to deal with it. We could probably get someone really well in return. And we keep Mitchell. And then Garland goes somewhere where he can thrive as well.
And then obviously if Mitchell ends up not signing the extension, you keep Garland and probably trade Mitchell.
But who would you guys think want the Cavs to get for Garland? His trade value is probably super low.
Oh,
so
It's honestly probably low.
This is I have two opinions on the Garland thing. First of all, with the whole roster thing, I truly feel like a conclusion about the core four cannot be made until we have a good offensive coach. Because I think the coaching also has a factor with this as well. Like,
Steve Nash.
They have not had a good offensive coach to work with them and get them in the situation
where
they could perform well. Like, Garland and Mitchell, I think it's forgotten by a lot of Cavs fans because this has been a rough year for Garland because of a lot of off-the-court stuff, injuries. It was just rough from the very start for him individually and for the team. I think it's very easy to forget about how great he was just a year ago, where once Mitchell comes in, averages basically the same amount of points, just one less assist, career high from three, 41% from three, and a big thing too, I know the turnover thing has been rough this year, but last year he was second in the NBA in assist-to-turnover ratio among high-usage ball handlers behind Nikola Jokic. This is Darius Garland we're talking about. We're just 1 year removed from this guy having a really, really good year for the Cavs. But you're right. I mean, obviously last year makes things super tough. And if we're looking at, trade options, when you look around the league at teams that may be interested in getting a point guard, the only two things that make sense to me would be to the New Orleans Pelicans for Brandon Ingram. I think that makes a lot of sense for both sides because the Pelicans are going to want to move on from Ingram. And I think that
Talk about someone whose trade stock is low, Goglin. You were talking about Garland's trade stock is low from the playoffs. Ingram didn't have a great playoffs either.
I don't know why you guys want Brandon Ingram. I really don't.
Oh, the other thing I was going to say with Garland is I think that the value that Cavs fans are giving him is lower than the rest of the league.
Oh, no, he's young. He's been an all-star before, and he's on a team that has playoff experience. That's a lot. That's a lot for a lot of teams.
But the lack of teams needing a point guard throughout the league makes it super tough. Yeah. But I think Garland on the Pelicans would be great. Just think about a starting lineup. Garland, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Zion, and if they keep Valanciunas,
Yeah, finally get McCollum's bum butt out of that lineup.
And
Hey,
maybe move
don't
on
say
from
that.
McCollum. Move him while his value is still high, because McCollum did still have a pretty solid year. And then for the Cavs, Mitchell moves to the point, which I think would be great. I think he works very well as a point guard with Strus, Ingram, Mobley, and Allen if you keep that core together. And I think the other team that would maybe make sense is the Spurs. Because the Spurs getting a point guard, that's what everyone's talking about with Trae Young. There's a chance that the
Darius
Hawks may not
move.
even want him, or want to move Trae Young away. And in that case, you could maybe move Garland for like a Johnson and role players and picks or something like that. Oh yeah, there's Jackson with Rich Paul.
Oh, Rich Paul.
Me and my best buddy.
I think those are the two really main realistic options.
But with the Spurs, all I hear from all the things is first off, if Chetty ever comes back here, I am burning Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse to the ground. Second of all, talking about the Spurs, what I've been hearing is that they just want with their 2 top 10 picks, they want an elite point guard to draft to start fresh with Wemby, because Wemby's only 1 year in. They both developed together, created chemistry, like comparative to like a Penny and Shaq.
I don't understand that argument. To me, falls out the window when you consider if Darius is much more talented and skilled than any point guard in the draft.
This draft class
depending on how those scouts look at it.
A couple GMs today said that they think drafting number 1 in this draft class is like drafting Tobias Harris.
I saw that, and that's like, dude, that's so disrespectful.
That's disrespectful.
So I think that when looking at NBA draft history, if you're saying that this is a weak draft class, you'd be saying that this is the worst draft class in NBA history, in my opinion. Because you look at every single draft throughout history, in every draft, you've gotten at least 3 All-Stars in every single draft. I don't think that any draft class can be considered weak. Now, some can be better than others, but I don't think that any draft class could be weak, because there's always potential out there.
I mean, I think it's set in stone who they're going to take at 4, unless he goes before 4. I think they're going to take Nikola Topic.
I think that would make that would be very interesting.
I think I could see them taking like a Rob Dillingham, but I don't think Rob Dillingham fits what they want.
I was just about to say, I thought I saw Rob Dillingham that they were eyeing too.
Potentially, but moving past from that, I think that maybe the most encouraging thing that Cavs fans could have seen in this article is that there is a growing sentiment around the league that the Cavaliers will be able to position themselves to receive Mitchell's commitment for a lucrative contract extension. So, despite all the national rumors,
you're such a clown.
Teams think that the Cavs will be able to extend Mitchell, and we've seen reports today from Woj and actual legit reliable sources that Donovan Mitchell's happy in Cleveland.
Not Chris Fedor.
And he wants to stay. So we'll see how those go. I mean, obviously, Donovan Mitchell also said that he and his agency will talk with Cleveland about an extension when the right time comes. That could be from now. That could be in 2 days. That could be all the way in October when the deadline's up. We just won't know. So until then, we're going to hear a lot of different talks. But I think that seeing that, it should definitely make Cavs fans feel a lot better. As far as the Mobley-Allen thing,
Mobley is, you got to keep Mobley.
If you're picking, it's the same thing. If you have, personally, I think them two together, if they play together, it's not as bad, especially with the way Mobley started shooting a little better. If he continues to develop that and improve, he can be a threat. But like, if you've got to choose, I'm sorry, you have to choose Mobley.
Yeah, for sure. Something too is that I think that Mobley and Allen, like if they're in the same starting lineup, they'd only be on the floor together for what? 12
it's not long. Then you just alternate.
They start each half, then they stagger.
Yeah, it's perfect. And then they come in at the end of the game together if we need to.
And if one of them's playing better than the other, then they stay on the floor. And I think keeping both of them, I think that's what I'd prefer, because at the very least, you automatically have the best backup center in the NBA.
Yeah.
automatically. As far as that goes, I know that Jared Allen may be someone that does get moved, considering that there were very few players that were upset with Jared Allen for not getting back and playing for the playoffs. There are reports that Jared Allen refused to get an injection that could have numbed the pain through and that he could have kept playing.
That's stupid.
I am very thankful he didn't do that.
I agree.
That is terrible. I have seen so many like former players and stuff. I just saw it earlier today. It was like if they offer you the injection or painkiller and stuff like that, or something serious like or surgery, don't take it. It's like save your body. Like it's only going to damage you in the long run.
Especially, I mean, at this point, he was probably getting this word in the Celtics series, which it's not. I mean, with the way the Cavs toughened up, I'm sure you could make a case that the Cavs could have had a chance if healthy, but still probably not.
Also, if you're going to be selfish, which, hey, it's your body, you're allowed to be. How old is Jared Allen?
24, 25, or how old is Jared
I think he's 26.
No, 26. Yeah, my bad. 26
okay.
Years old,
well, either way, for centers, he's got like max 4 years left.
He's also on one of the friendliest, best contracts in the league. 20 flat for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Is one of the best valued contracts you could get. So you could get something back in return for him. Or even if like you want to trade him for a power forward that can shoot the ball that's maybe not as good and try to make up some of the draft capital that you gave away in the Donovan Mitchell trade, that could be something interesting there. Yeah. I think something else that's interesting that really doesn't have much to do with the Cavs now is that Evan Mobley in the draft process, that his representation told the Cavs to not draft him. I thought that was very interesting. They wanted him to go to Oklahoma City.
Wait, who said that?
Evan Mobley's agents didn't want him to go to Cleveland.
Well, good thing Evan Mobley's here. He's loving it. He's having a good time. He's been to the playoffs many times.
And, I mean, we drafted his brother as well. I think that all is fine.
Right.
In the relationship.
Get out of here.
We'll have all offseason to look at the Cavs moves. It should be very fun. I'm excited for the Cavs offseason. I'm not as worried as if I had to put a number on obviously it all hinges on the Donovan Mitchell thing. If he signs an extension, I'm probably 70% confident that he'll re-sign, which was 50 to 60 maybe the rest of the year.
I was 100% confident, or am 100% confident that he's going to re-sign because I've been saying it all year round, and I said it before the playoffs, and I'm saying it after the playoffs are done for the Cavs. If the Cavs lost in the first round, Donovan Mitchell's gone. If we make it past the first round, Donovan Mitchell stays.
Here's the thing.
Nick doesn't want us to keep Donovan Mitchell for some reason.
Here's the thing. I think there is a situation where he does leave, and I think it is if he wants to go to New York and they make it to / win the championship, and he sees them take down Boston.
He's not like a KD, and he's not just going to follow the crown.
Yeah, I don't.
He's not. He is 100%. At least the notion I've gotten from his many years in the league already. He is a guy who wants to stick things out. He wants to do the dirty work. He doesn't want to do it the easy way. He'd rather do it for pride and glory.
Yeah, like I said, that's just I'm not saying that's like gonna happen if that situation happens.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I could see it be a situation like everything
that's fair
that happens in that situation.
I just don't think if the Knicks went on to the NBA Finals or whatever, I don't think in order to acquire Mitchell, you'd have to give up the role player core that got you there.
No, you would give up Julius Randle.
No,
we're not taking Julius.
That would make no sense for the Cavs then.
I say we trade Darius Garland for Jalen Brunson straight up. I think that's fair for both sides.
Okay, I think now is a proper time to move on. Oh, one final thing before we get out of here. I made a quick list before we got on. I thought that now was a proper time. We're getting to the end of the second round to make a top 10 list of the best performances so far in the playoffs. I want to see what you guys think of this. This was definitely tough, man. There are some performances that came in losses, obviously a majority in wins, but this has been a special year already for some crazy playoff performances.
Let's go.
So quickly, starting off, number 10, I'm going with Devin Booker's Game 4 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he scored 49 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, 13 for 21 from the field in a series where he really had a hard time really getting things going. He was able to, come through in the game where his team needed him the most. They didn't obviously win the game, but he played very, very well.
Anthony DX Edwards.
Yes, hey, Anthony Edwards will definitely be on this list.
Generation X Edwards.
At some point here. Moving on to number 9. I've got Paolo Banchero's Game 5 of the first round, where he scored 39 points and 8 boards, where he was just making the most ridiculous shots. It was ridiculous. The Cavs could not stop him no matter who was guarding him. He was making some ridiculous shots. So he was at number 9. Great first playoff series for Paolo Banchero. My number 8 is Donovan Mitchell's Game 7 of the first round against Orlando, the 39 points, 9 rebounds, leading the greatest Game 7 comeback in NBA history. Number 7, I've got Jalen Brunson's Game 5, most recent game, the 44 points. Now, this obviously in a blowout victory, but this a hostile environment where the Knicks were shorthanded, and he was incredible. Like I said before, was scoring on every single defender the Pacers tried to throw at him. Just a super impressive performance there by Brunson, one of many in these playoffs so far. We'll be seeing him again on this list in a little bit.
Of course, because he's the best point guard in the league.
Number 6, I had to put Joel Embiid's 50 from Game 3. I know it's Joel Embiid.
I'm not mad.
But he was very, very good in Game 3. When the Sixers were down 2-0, he went crazy, man. Like, I was forgetting some of the crazy shots he hit. Like, he was just shooting over the top of the Knicks defense and making some crazy shots there. So Joel Embiid goes in at number 6. One of his only good, or maybe his only good performance in the playoffs this season.
His only good performance ever. Continue. Next.
Number 5, I've got the other 50-point game of the playoffs so far. Donovan Mitchell's Game 6. Although it came in a loss, he put the team on his back while he was injured, got hurt in the third quarter, and was still just attacking, fell to the floor, making some of the most ridiculous shots ever.
Yeah, I already know what your number 1 is.
He was sensational. Number 4, Anthony Edwards from Game 1 of the Nuggets series this series, where he had 43.7 rebounds.
Joey, come on.
What?
You know what you did.
I'm listening.
Oh, gosh. So, yeah, Anthony Edwards at number 4. Number 3, I've got Knicks boy Tyrese Maxey's Game 5 with that logo 3 at the end of regulation. That crazy comeback to force that series to Game 6. Obviously, the Sixers couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, I know what you're putting at 1.
But Maxey was definitely incredible in that game. Number 2, I've got the game before that. I've got Jalen Brunson's Game 4. His 47 points, 10 assists, where the Knicks were down double digits at halftime. And, man, we said it before, we'll say it again. Jalen Brunson is just incredible at making tough shots, getting to his spots. This was the game where he had that crazy one-legged floater over Joel Embiid fading away.
Yeah.
It was just a crazy game. And then number 1, Nikola Jokic Game 5 of this series. I think that 40 points, 13 assists, no turnovers. I think that's the best performance of the playoffs so far. Doing, I think, every single shot that a big man could take, every big man shot in the book, he did against Rudy Gobert. That was just crazy. So that's my number 1.
Yeah, the only person who should be able to stop him is the Defensive Player of the Year, and even he couldn't do that.
No way, Jose. So that's my top 10. What you guys have any snubs?
I was gonna say, I don't think so. I was gonna say the only person that should be on that list is, and I don't have a name. I think it's good. If you left Maxey off, then it would have been Maxey, but you gave him his well-respected number 3.
No,
that's a really W list.
No Glazer.
Hopefully Luka can have a freaking performance here that might crack the top 10.
Dude, I wanted to put Luka on this list, but just looking at this, like, I don't know, maybe one of his pivotal games could have gone over the 49 by Booker, but I don't know. I mean, Booker was close. I mean, 20 of his 49 points did come from the free throw line, so that always.
Whoa.
Talking about losses, there is someone you missed, and I think you missed Chris Middleton.
He was very close. The game 3.
42, 10, and 5.
That was incredible. I'm thinking about doing another list later on. Maybe we could all contribute on doing a unexpected performances of the playoffs, because I think I don't know,
him
Chris
and
Middleton
Portis in that game.
I put
him and Bobby Portis in that game.
This last game. What did he have this last game?
33 points.
Yeah, I never would have ever expected him to crack.
Oh, dude,
30.
how did we not mention Marcus Morris Sr. 25 points? That was something else. Derek White might be number 1 on that list, though.
Yeah.
Dude, 38 points. We'll get some TJ McConnell love in there.
TJ McConnell.
What a guy, man. You guys have anything else before we get on out of here? You guys any more thoughts on these upcoming series?
No thoughts on the upcoming series. We already talked about. Just it's been a wild and fun ride this season, Cavs fans. Let's get ready for next year.
Before the next episode, I could be announcing retirement depending on how 2 to 3 games go.
Oh, dude, yeah, both the Wolves and the Knicks go out.
I thought you already retired in the regular season.
Yeah.
That was from regular season.
Well, then so much for the playoff watch parties.
Oh.
The next time we record, we will have most likely we're going to have seen every single game 7, and we're going to have to start previewing conference finals games. So,
oh boy,
gonna be fun. We're going to have every single series be completed. So it's going to be so much fun. Leave a comment with your thoughts on all these upcoming game 6s, the game 7s, the Cavs upcoming off season. All things going around the NBA. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA playoff content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.